Good welcome, everyone. We're back with our episode on the Creator Circle. I'm your host, Luanda the Entertainer, and today we have graphic designer and artist, Human Being Designs. Say hello to the people, Human.
Yo, what's up, Luanda? Thanks for having me on, man. I'm glad to be here. And yeah, of course, what's up, everyone? Glad you guys are tuned in.
Thanks, man. It's good to have you here. I've been interested in your work for a while. I caught you one day on Instagram. I think it was the Robo Boy reel, but then I was like, this guy's pretty cool. Let me see what's going on. And then we reached out, we had a conversation, and now we're here.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I've always been into illustrations and just doing creative projects and just literally just implying designs and illustrations and making like products look cooler and actually sometimes making sure that businesses get their voices heard in a creative way.
That's cool, man. So can I ask you to share a little bit about your journey as an artist? Where did it all start or how it all began?
Well, for me, it's always been my whole life I've been drawing, bro. Like first day in school, you get a piece of paper. I started drawing and drawing, but obviously I didn't know why I was drawing or what I was drawing for. So I'd be writing notes or after an assignment or whatever, the next page I'm drawing. Obviously sometimes I got in trouble for that. But yeah, I've always been drawing. I was just lucky enough to stumble into a career that would allow me to sort of follow my passion and my heart. But drawing, I feel like it's always been there. It's always been an aspect. And like my older brothers, my older cousins, they were always drawing as well. And even my grandfather, he used to like do a lot of artistic things like smoking pipes, walking sticks. But he wouldn't just make like a normal walking stick. He would actually customize it and maybe have a face where you're supposed to be grabbing the stick. So creativity has always been around my life from a very young age. I think I just found a way to keep it going, to keep the flame burning.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So you can say that your art or your practice has been inspired by your family. They're ones who inspired you to pursue your style.
Definitely, definitely. I can say that, bro. I can say because they were the closest people to me, and I felt like if I'm this close to them and they're doing this, and yeah, I sort of can too. And yeah, when I started doing it, I don't even remember when I started doing it, but when I could see that, okay, cool, people can see what I'm doing. But obviously, as time grew on, I started getting more into spaces and things like that, and stumbling into graphic design and all those type of things, which opened up my mind to see that hey, I don't actually have to not do what I like. I can try and pursue this into something greater.
Oh, that's interesting, man. Can I ask how your style has evolved from when you started until now? What parts have you learned from or grown from?
Man, to be honest with you, my style was initially taken from TV because you come back from school, you throw your backpack and you watch TV and you start seeing these characters every day, on a daily basis from Monday to Monday. So the practice would be I would first try and draw those characters. You would try and draw Pokemon, try and draw Dragon Balls because you've seen them so much. Your mental has sort of developed a way to understand how the line work goes, how the eyes look. So yeah, that's how it started. I started drawing what I was familiar with, and then eventually I would now move into a school environment whereby it will be still the same sort of thing, whereby if you, let's say you're in a geography class, there would be a section where you have to draw a map. So or maybe draw something. So with that I started drawing even more things outside of television, but most of my style, I would say, from an early age was really influenced by TV and cartoons and funny things and like scary things sometimes because there would be a boss in cartoons that's trying to kill everyone, and then there would be a superhero who's trying to like save the day. So yeah, I was really into that type of vibe.
Ah, I get you, man. Hey, it's good to know that you took the art around and you made it into something beautiful. That's inspiring. It shows us that there's art everywhere. We just have to look for it.
Yeah, salute, definitely.
All right. I guess here's my next question is, do you have any formal training or were you self-taught?
So before I got formal training, I was in Cape Town, and the community where I stayed, there was a group of kids who were dancing, you know. So there was a guy who stayed next door to my house who was printing t-shirts. And he was working at the printing place as a job, right? So now this group of dancers wanted a t-shirt, and this guy was like, "Yo, he's gonna hook him up with a t-shirt, but he doesn't know where they're gonna get the design, you know." So I hooked up my first t-shirt design. Then I did not know if it was graphic design or what. They were just like, "Yo, they want something they're gonna use that they're gonna wear." I was like, they gave me the name. They didn't even pay me for that. I was just like, yeah, whatever, man. Because I didn't know this is like a business or whatever. I was like, yeah, cool, I'll do it. Did that first design for them, and then they wore the t-shirt, and then it was a successful like sort of printing job. And then after that, I was after work, I met some guy who was just coming from Bloemfontein. His name was Emisang. He actually got me into the professional side of things because he told me about graphic design. I'm like, whoa, what is that? He's like, yo, dude, graphic design is like we couldn't really chop it up then, but eventually yeah, he showed me his portfolio, showed me the work he was doing. It sort of opened my eye in the sense that everything is graphic design. You know, you're in the store, you're looking for coffee. First thing you see is how it looks, the colors, the fonts. So I dropped my job after that and went to enroll for graphic design, which brought me to the professional aspect of doing arts. And now I was still, you know, doing arts for fun, but now I had this professional aspect. And yeah, my life has never been the same ever since.
Ah, that's fair. I guess that moment was a huge moment in shaping your experience and your career as an artist.
Definitely, bro.
All right, fair, man. And it's clear that your cultural background or your personal background have really influenced your perspective in terms of what you want to make and how you want to produce the work you want to produce.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Like what I like the most is the fact that I'm able to do something that the client wants, something that the client requires, and at the same time, I still have a silent voice that has to jump out of my illustrations. That's when I'm now doing the personal things. So even while I was a student, that was the case. I would do university work during the day, but on my way to school or at night, I would be like making my own drawings, my own illustrations, and there's never been actually any planning when it comes to the illustrations that I do for my self expressions. Like that's why I always enjoy them so much as well, because there's no real planning. It's always just based off feelings, you know, based off where I am, the type of people I'm around, but they always come out. I understand them. When I look at them, I understand what they mean in the place that where I am, but having to explain them in words, I would have to be standing with someone and actually have them look into it and go back to the moment where I created it. So yeah.
Ah, I get you, man. But now, are there any artists who have influenced or inspired your work?
Yeah, a couple of artists inspired me, dude. I went crazy when I discovered Cindy Sonyoni because I was like still a student then. Guys like Minenko Lungoyi, Alphabet Zoo, you know, just some people who were just doing arts, man, and doing illustrations and putting their work out there. So yeah, I really looked up to those guys like Buff Monsters, you know, guys like that are just doing like authentic illustrations that are very powerful, and they're not really trying to get them to look like anything other than their style, unless of course it's a commissioned gig or whatever. But I really liked looking up to people that are doing um the type of work that they find is sort of satisfying to them, you know.
I get you, man. I get you. Um, I guess what we can say is that your environment and your community has influenced your art as well as the people who you've learned from in school.
Yeah, actually, then I'm glad you raised that up because at school, you know, you would get a project. They would say maybe um go design this logo for colleagues or whatever, but obviously it's an assignment. So you would go and do that. And then when you're done, you would have to go and submit your research in an envelope. Like, okay, this is step one. This is the competitors I looked for Kellogg's. This is step two. These are the colors I looked. Cereals. I'm just making an example. Obviously, cereals normally have these colors. So you would compile all of that research and put it in an envelope, and then you give it to your lecturer, and then your lecturer is going to check it out, and then they see that, okay, cool, you did your research. So what would happen with me is that with those envelopes, I would actually start drawing on those envelopes, you know. But obviously, after they came back from the lecture or on my way to school, now I started noticing how me, I didn't notice anything, but I started noticing how my classmates, my lecturers, the people in public transport when I'm going to school, I started noticing how they look at them. And I was like, hey, maybe, maybe there's something here with these doodles, man. Maybe I'm not just drawing for fun, you know what I mean? Because
Maybe there's some
yeah, the way
spark that I've discovered.
exactly. And then the lectures also played a big role. Like, yo, dude, yeah, you're on to some artistic shit here. So with that said, I enrolled up for the design endeavor to be an emerging creative. And that's where the bomb exploded, bro, because there were like people from all over the world and they were going crazy over the illustrations, bro. I'm
Yeah.
talking things that I was drawing for fun, just in J, just killing time. Like people who will be shaking, bro. Like, yeah, this one is mine, this one is mine. Like they're beating, like I want it, I want. So I was like, whoa, what is this illustration thing? So yeah, I just started saying that, yeah, nah, there's no turning back, man. I love this. Some people like would come straight up to me, look me dead in the eye, and be like, don't you ever stop doing this because we can see that as time goes on, your style is gonna mature and develop into something more. And actually got a whole lot of those, a whole lot of emails, a lot of messages from people, a lot of advices, and obviously it was still up to me to finesse that and actually find a way to keep pushing it more, especially from a business aspect of things.
No, I can see why. Your work is very versatile and creative, nuanced,
Nah,
but also, I want to say, it evokes an emotion, a childhood-like emotion. It's like something you'd see
exactly.
as a
Yeah.
kid. It takes you back to
Yeah.
that
Thanks,
time.
man.
And it's always happy. It's
Yeah.
smiling characters, cartoon characters. Just,
Yeah. It's either happy or scary because sometimes I would be sort of in a dark place,
mm,
but I always choose to embrace that because another thing I've learned is that we go through things in life sometimes. You would go through something embarrassing, you would go through something scary, but for some reason we only want to share we only want to share the good ones, you know what I mean? So I always make sure that my illustrations, if I'm in a dark place, I would draw something really dark and actually make sure that when I look at it, it actually resembles how I feel, so that way I'm sort of over it, not over it entirely, but uh, in a way I've found a way to transition that energy to sort of be like, hey, I went through this happened, and this is what I did while I was in that dark place. So art has also told me to always listen to myself, always share how I feel, and not be selfish, because most drawings I would draw and actually hate them until about 2 weeks. Like, whoa, I can't believe I hated this. So it's
mm,
like whatever feeling I have, I try to display that because I won't always feel that way. You know what I mean?
that's fair. I mean, art is a form of expression, and each work
Mm.
does bring an emotion out of us as creators, not just out of the audience.
Nah, for sure, bro, for sure.
All right. Can you tell us about a piece of work that is really one of your works, actually, that has really made a significant impact on you?
Just from the top of my mind is the series that I currently have running now called Reality Mesh. Mainly, what I like about it is that it started off as just waking up, focusing on, not even focusing, just waking up, feeling a certain way, getting a piece of paper, drawing on that piece of paper. So I would do videos on my Instagram and then post them. That was like last year. So what I did this year is that I took those same illustrations and blew them up on a canvas. So it's like if you check on my IG, if you scroll down, you'll see there's parts where I'm just doing a quick little drawing in the first video. I'm just doing it quick, 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 quick. And then yeah, I took those drawings. Now I'm blowing them up on a canvas in the series, and they look very satisfying because now they're bigger and they really jump up to your face and they brighten up whatever space they want. So yeah, I'm really into that type of vibe. And there's been some corporate illustrations I've done for like, you know, companies like Woolworths, some beer packages that looked really cool. It's just putting illustrations on different platforms because keep in mind I've been drawing on paper for so long. So I always get excited to have them on different platforms, especially on bigger scales. You know, I still want to put them up in buildings and wall murals and things like that. Even though I do have a few wall murals, but it gets really exciting when you blow them up. Yeah.
Fair, man. That's fair. And you said your inspiration does come from media, but are there any specific cartoons or shows or pieces that really you look back on and be like, that's what I want to make, or that's what I am inspired by?
I mean, I think cartoons sort of played that childhood foundation. You know, I don't think I really get inspired by cartoons now. Now I watch them for fun, but there was one particular one. Fuck, I wish I could remember the name. It was Monsters, man. There was
Wait,
a
was it
character.
Nickelodeon Monsters?
Yeah, there was a guy who had.
Hey!
Yeah,
Yo, I
he
remember
had
that
his.
one. Yo, I
Yeah,
remember
he
that
used to
one.
have. He had his eyes like his eyes. He held them with his hands. You
Mm.
know, yeah,
Yeah, I
characters like
remember. Ah,
yeah,
yo, that's
yeah,
crazy, bro. We watched the same
characters like
stuff.
that, bro. Yeah, characters like that, bro. Yeah, that shit was like it really laid a solid foundation as far as how far you can take monsters because um I really enjoy. I'm sure you've noticed most of my characters have eyes, so I really enjoy when I start drawing, most times I start with the eyes because the eyes are gonna be like, okay, cool. This is the soul of this character or the spirit or however you want to call it. And then after seeing the spirit from the eyes, that would sort of determine how the body is gonna come about, you know. But yeah, yeah, those childhood comics played a huge role, bro. Like yeah, they really played a big role. Just in terms of, you know, it doesn't have to be always normal people that you draw, you know what I mean?
Ah, that's good, man. So how do you stay creatively inspired, especially when you go through a creative drought or creative blocks?
Dude, even if I have a creative block, bro, I still draw, you know, because I have this thing. Most times when I draw, I would draw something, right? As I'm drawing it, maybe when I'm halfway, I would get seriously bored. I would actually not like it. But I know, like I said, I know that it's not always going to be the same feeling. So I always make sure I finish it. Whatever I'm drawing, whether I like it or not, I finish it. If I'm not finishing it now, it's gonna go into the files later on. I might even like it more. It's gonna get finished, but it's always about finishing it because, man, to be honest with you, I have drawings that be like, yeah, this is so whack. This is so whack, and then I keep going. After I finish it, it's like, what? I thought this was whack. So yeah, man, just finish what you start. If you finish what you start, because there's that part where things just look dull. It doesn't look cool. It doesn't look interesting. It's just an outline. You haven't shaded. You haven't. It looks like that thing you used to do in high school, and then you just like the bell rings and you leave. You know. So yeah, I think whenever I feel like I'm stuck, I know sometimes I would feel uninspired, but I just make sure I finish my shit.
Hey, and that's an understatement. A lot of artists get caught up in that phase and they quit. I guess that's the difference between those who make it and those who struggle. That finishing
Yeah,
the work and finishing what you've started.
yeah, finish it, bro. Because it's not just about you. That work needs to live too. You know, someone
Mm.
else, someone that that piece of work, someone probably needs to see that. Someone is probably going to feel something when they see that, even if they don't necessarily hang it in their lounge or whatever. But yeah, I feel like finishing your piece is a very important aspect of not only completing the process of expressing yourself from that thing you're going through, but just to say this is done now. Because if you at some point I had a lot of unfinished pieces, it's hard to move on when you have a lot of unfinished pieces because you feel like you're not developing. So what happens to me is like places, people where I spend time the most. For an example, if I would go and spend time with people that play a certain sport or whatever, I don't know how it happens, but my style always changes according to where I am and the type of people I spend time with. So if I'm not gonna finish this now, I would feel like I'm not gonna develop into a new wave of style. Even though I do have my own consensus style that I like, I also enjoy developing. I also enjoy watching myself develop because sometimes even me, I don't know what's gonna come out. It's like, okay, cool. I just moved to a new city. I'm hanging out with these new people. I'm doing these new activities. I don't know what I'm gonna draw when I get home. And I don't know how it's gonna look. So imagine how unfair it would be if I didn't finish that and then I moved again. And then now I'm trying to finish it with a different energy and I'm sort of forcing it to tie in with that. So yeah, man, it's like that, bro.
Yeah, that just means you're conscious about your work and the experience you have while making it. It's not just about a pen and paper. It's an experience, or rather, it's a how do I see this? Because it's like you are experiencing it as an artist, but the artwork is experiencing you as an artist and a creator.
Exactly.
It's like this
Yeah,
living
exactly.
dynamic between you and your work.
Yeah, exactly, precisely, bro.
All right, man. Hey, that's really interesting. I hope people will take something away from this and focus more not
Yeah.
on getting an outcome, but doing the work. Because maybe your whole process here is doing the work that you love to do and seeing it through to the bit to the very end.
Yeah, exactly, precisely, bro. You need to see it to the end. I know some artists like having unfinished artworks. I'm not one of those. I can't do that. I'm not one of those guys. Only if someone saw something by mistake and they insisted on taking it. Let's say I'm flipping through some sketches for a client and then they see something by mistake or they saw something in my story because I would post something in my story that's not complete. Only then I would be like, oh, okay, cool. If you really want it, yeah, you can have it. But me personally, I always prefer to finish, yeah, to finish what I draw. Because even when I started, I used to start with only heads. I used to draw heads alone, and I like, hey, maybe they need bodies, man. Because the imagination of creating them cartoons, bruh. They
Mm,
would develop you into be like, yo, you're a god. You made this. Now you start imagining, hey, what if this thing wakes up? Now it doesn't have arms now. What kind of god am I?
mm.
So I would imagine how it would live. I
What
would
kind
even
of God
sometimes
am
imagine
I?
the like, I would even imagine the type of powers it would have, be like,
Mm,
with this eye, he can probably flip and look behind him while he's flying.
mm.
So yeah, I think it plays mostly on imagination and just imagining what it's like when it's complete. Yeah.
All right, here's the last question because I feel like you've gone into depth about how you of your work experiences, what it means to you. But now I want to ask, what message or emotion do you want people to to feel or see when they experience your art?
Uh, I like the feeling of walking into a room and my work is hanging there and it just makes the room warm. It makes it feel comfortable because if you've noticed, most even though I'm drawing monsters, I always use soft colors. Like I call them baby colors, like the kind of colors you would find in a clothing section for babies. You know what I mean? Those soft, easy to look
The
at
light
colors.
pinks,
So
the yellows, the baby
you know what I
greens.
mean? Yeah. So what I like about those is that they turn most spaces into comfort, into you know what I mean? You feel homey, you feel like even if it's a t-shirt, you feel like there's some sort of connection with it. So I would give an advice in this way of just follow what you feel like is gonna make you appreciate a space, because me, even if I have my artwork in my space, like the piece I'm looking at right now in front of me, it makes me feel comfortable, it makes me feel like, yeah, I'm home. Even if it's an office, you feel like a certain way, especially if it's one of those pieces that every time you look at it, you, depending on where you are, like spiritually or mentally, you always get something, you know what I mean?
I get you. I get you.
For sure, bro.
Hmm. Any words, any last words, something to inspire the kids who might hear this and think, I want to be a graphic designer, but I don't know how?
Ah, man, just keep doing it. And if you're still a bit younger, don't worry too much about how it's gonna work out, and don't worry too much about the side of, the business, how am I gonna do it, or the technical side of it. Just focus on what you can do now. If you have a piece of paper, just draw. If you want to be into sports, take a ball, go play outside. Don't focus too much on how it's gonna happen, or is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be technically appreciated? Just focus at the moment, and just obviously follow your heart, and but don't follow it blindly. Look for opportunities, and one thing I've noticed also is that in most times things don't just come to you. Very few things come to you. You always have to be the one who initiates a way forward, and then that way that energy is going to come back to you. So just do what you feel is good, focus on it, put time into your crafts, but don't put time like as in, now I'm putting time. Wait for you to feel like it. When you
Mm.
feel like it and you're really into it, when you feel like it and you're into it and you can do it in a space where by now you don't even notice when you're doing it. You could do it while you're chatting with someone, while you're busy listening to music, or while your friend is reading a book and you're sitting opposite them, or while you're cooking. When you can do it like it's part of your nature, you know what I mean? That's where you want to get to. That's where you want to get to, so that you can now feel like a professional in a way, if I can put it like that. And obviously be always on the lookout for different styles, you know what I mean? I keep making this example about soccer. You can't, you're not gonna score if you use the same path to go to the other goal, you know what I mean? You need to have different styles, you need to be checking out different trends, but not necessarily try and change your style to match that. Just check them out, know about them, so that when the time comes for you to divert and try and score from a different angle, you know how to do that, but you still know how to follow your own path. So yeah, just keep an open mind, be on the lookout, and most importantly, check the people who've been doing this way before you, because um even if you don't like what they do, just check them out, see the type of steps they took, because you're not gonna necessarily see a gap if you don't know the gaps that have been filled already, because you're gonna think you're coming up with something new, and people have been doing that for like over the past 17 years. So yeah, past, present, and that way you can sort of find a way to embrace the future, just in terms of the stars.
Hey, that was a beautiful note, man. I hope people do take
Solid.
away from this, and I hope they follow your work and they follow you on Instagram,
Hey, yeah,
because I've
man.
seen some
Human Being
stuff you've been
Design.
dropping and it's really interesting. And
Hey,
you're based in Josie, no?
yeah, yeah. I'm based in Jersey, Joe, but I'm still in Cape Town as well. I'm still bouncing between the two cities, but I'm enjoying Jersey at the moment.
Hey, let us know when you have an exhibition. I'd love to see your work in real life.
Nah, for sure, man. There's one dropping. It's not really an exhibition, but in March I'm doing this skateboard for Crispy Skateboards. So I'm gonna design a board for them, and they're gonna show that. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. And the series Reality Mesh, it's a series of a few illustrations, and I'll probably send you some photos to show the piece for that as well. But yeah, that I'm gonna show this year. I'm just working out the background details and how I'm gonna show it and things like that because I would like to show it in my own way, in the way that I understand, not necessarily just hanging up artwork. I want it to be an experience. We come from cartoons, dude. It's all about experiences. It's like, shit, it's a whole different world in here. So yeah, I really like the opportunity of changing colors from the roof to the floor, having things just going crazy. But yeah, if you stay tuned, you'll see more about that.
And that's a great way to sign off. This has been
Yeah,
Human
for
Being
sure, man.
Design and Luanda the Entertainer on the Creator Circle. Thank you for your time, bro. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate this moment.
And we out.